Hello, Pratinav. It's great to have you in our episodes of Placement Talks, where success stories like of yours gives us a great insight into placements. So, would you like to kick off by giving an introduction on yourself and about the company you're placed in?
Hello, it's nice to be here. Right now, I'm working for a company called P2 Power Solutions, and I'm working as an R&D engineer. Uh, so, this I've been doing this for the past 2 months now, and I got placed 3 months back, around some mid March. So, before this, I was working in another company called Autobot India. It wasn't an official. It wasn't an internship that I was doing for the college per se. It was just something I was doing to enhance my skills. I'll let you in on why that was important and why it's relevant. And yeah, P2 Power Solutions is a company from Noida. It works for power electronic products and services. Right now, it's working towards R&D of electric vehicles, BMS, battery management system design, and also electric vehicle chargers. So that's a bit about the company, and that's when I got placed. Okay.
First of all, congratulations on your placement. We definitely understand that this is no walk in the park. So can you elaborate more on the application and selection process and the various strategies that you stuck to?
All right. So this was a very long process. It started off informally, and then I went for the formal procedures. So like any other person who'd go for a job, any kind of job, you have to shortlist companies based on your interests. So that's what I did first. I shortlisted around maybe 25 companies or so, and the companies varied from startups all the way to Fortune companies. All of them were there. So all the spectrums were there. And so once that was done, I gathered all the contact informations for all these companies, right? So now what was the basis of my shortlisting? It was, of course, my interests, but interest doesn't always, guarantee your place. So your interest needs to be combined with your acumen and your skill set. So if it all matches, that's how you choose a company. So now, once you've shortlisted the company, that this is somewhere probably around 2020 January. That's when I started shortlisting companies. The aim was to first get a company for just a summer internship, and the reason, skill development. Now, most of the people know that getting a internship or a job isn't that easy, and you need to have skills. So the first step was to get an internship which is unpaid, uh, because that guarantees you a place in a good company, and it also helps you enhance your skills. So that was the first goal, and I worked towards it. But then the pandemic hit, so the process got a bit delayed. But I managed to get an internship through LinkedIn. I sent a lot of emails. I got a lot of callbacks, but then for some reason or the other, it would never work out because they need me in the location, but because of pandemic, I couldn't go there, and a lot of other reasons similar to this. But finally, I got an internship through LinkedIn in a company called Autobot India. Now, this was a 3-month internship. And I got selected for it as a part of their scholarship program. It's something like a scholarship program. So they select students and they give them the internship for free. Otherwise, the entire program must be even paid for by you. Now, it's somewhat of a mix of a training and an internship. That's why it's a paid program. But I got through the program for free because they liked my profile. Now, once I started working for that company, in under 3 months, I had skills that I had documentation for. Now, you can always have skills, but you need to document the skills so that you can show it to people. So that was the main idea behind doing that internship. And that was the reason why I got a call from the company I'm working for right now. So now, right when I was working for Autobot India, I got a call. I got a text from the founder of this company, P2 Power Solutions, asking me to apply for their core positions. So I had applied there. Before I continue, I must stress on one thing. In all these procedures, whatever you're doing, if it's a job related, project related, anything, it's very important to do LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn game is of utmost importance. And LinkedIn game is a time-based process. So it's going to take a long time for you to get there, get the right connections, get people's attention. But if you get it, then it's actually very helpful. So the CEO texted me regarding this, and I applied for the job. He told me that he wants me to start working for my 8th semester with them. But then I didn't want to do that because I had a couple of projects that I had to work on for the university with my research guide. So I had two papers pending, and I had to finish them. So I told that I cannot go for it. So he told me to get back to him once I'm done with college, and that's what I did. So I finished my capstone, and then I got back to them, and then they hired me for the company. So that was the entire process of how I got into the company, and that's been my whole experience for the past 1.5 years now.
It's great to see that it actually these all work for you. So now moving forward, how was the coding round and how did you approach that?
All right. So before, let me clear it out. My job is related to power electronics and a bit of embedded systems. So the coding isn't as extensive, but it is there. So now the process of my selection didn't have any exams per se, but it did have technical interviews that lasted for an hour and a half or an hour at least. So now I'm gonna pertain to what you've asked, the coding part, not the other technical aspects as of now. So how did I assure them that I had the skills necessary for the coding that was needed for the embedded system design? So that I did that by my projects. So now I had one research paper published before I had that interview, and I had the interview probably around November last year. So I had one research paper published by then. So now the research paper was fully hardware oriented and theory and hardware combined. It was a well-rounded work. So I could justify that the project that I had designed needed the software that was coded by me. And I also had a good GitHub repo where I had a lot of projects which were coded by me. So, and also a MathWorks account where I had a lot of projects that were again coded by me. So I had to show all of it to them. And again, all of this goes into the resume. So with links, so that helped them get to know my skills, and that helped me clear the coding part of the interviews.
Can you just give a small brief on how the technical round went?
So the technical round was, I had, all right. So I'll give you two interview examples about the technical aspects. So the first company, there was a company called Green Tech, for which I was hired, but I couldn't go there because of the pandemic. So now Green Tech's technical interview was one of the most interesting. So, and this happened during March, 12th March. So that was before we were asked to come back home from college. So I had actually gone there to their office for the interview. So the technical lead drew a circuit for me, and he asked me a couple of questions in relation to switches and how would switches operate in a circuit based on an application that he had presented to me. Now, I gave him the solution, and he gave me his solution. That usually goes on. And then there was another interview, which was conducted by Ultraviolet. Now, Ultraviolet is a really good company. It's from Bangalore. It works on electric vehicle super bikes. Yeah. So their technical interview was a little more interesting, where they started off with my resume. That's usually how they ask you questions. So they started off with my resume, and they picked up one of the most important projects that I had done, which was related to the work that they do in their company. And then they went on to asking me questions in depth, layer by layer. First, an overview question, then an in-depth question, then one that goes even deeper than that, and that's how they try to dig out the information so that they know that whatever work you've done all the way to the basics. Yeah.
Okay, so that was very insightful. But even after honing all these skills, it is the way we present our resumes that seals the deal. So how would you suggest that we build a perfect resume, and how does projects and work experience add value to it?
So I'll explain a couple of things here. I'm only explaining this in detail because this is something that my seniors had told me about. So a couple of things that my seniors had told me about were that you must include a couple of things, even if it's a research related resume or a job related resume. There are two things, right? There's a CV and then there's a resume. So this is a full blown resume. Now, resume has in-depth understanding about what projects you have done, for example, and you segregate each of them with respect to where they belong. Internship separate, in-plant training separate, research experience separate, and all of it will have a 2 to 3 line description each. And wherever you have work that's available online, it's in form of research papers, in form of GitHub projects, in form of math work projects, you must link them because it helps the employer understand your work without having to ask you about it, because you can be biased about the work that you've done, but your work speaks for itself. So they can check it out for themselves. And it's important to mention the competitions and try as much as possible, whatever work that you've put up here should be backed up with evidence that you can present at any point of time, because in most cases they do ask for it. So be it patents, be it certifications, be it workshops, whatever you mention, if they are relevant to your employer, then they're going to ask for it. And even if they don't, they're going to go into depths of it. So it's important to structure your resume as accurately as possible. Whatever work you've done, just put it in there. It's suggested that a resume is usually of 2 pages and a CV is usually of 1 page, right? If I'm not wrong. So and that's how. And you must, do explain a couple of things and tailor. You must always tailor your resume as per the employer that you're applying to. For example, research interest and coursework taken. I have taken 180 credit worth of courses by now, but that doesn't mean I include everything here, right? You must include only ones that are relevant to your employer or wherever you're applying. So this is a very important thing because this helps them understand your theoretical knowledge, which you can otherwise not, explain to them.
Yeah, so all these projects and work experiences are a huge investment to us. And there is a plethora of options and opportunities I like to choose from. So, like, what do we keep in mind while deciding upon any project or any of the internships that we apply for?
Um, there are 2 ways of going about it. Now, I understand that everyone doesn't get to know what interests they have, right? Let's say by 3rd year or even by the final year, some people are confused, right? So what I suggest is that use the summers wisely. Now, you get 2 options for doing an internship during your bachelor's, right, in the summer. So after first year, it's quite difficult because you don't really have experience. But after second year, can apply right before your 3rd year, that is. Now, that one internship that you do, try to choose something that you've been a little interested towards. Now, it doesn't have to be tech related. If you're not interested in tech, if you're not interested in engineering, you can also do a management based internship. Now, pertaining to the fact that this is not for the college, this is for you, a volunteer program, anything of that sort that helps you just understand your interests vaguely, even vaguely by somewhere mid of 3rd year, so that you can plan more for skill development. Because what I understand is that the interview I'm giving is for students who will probably be on 3rd year or 4th year, right? So it doesn't really matter what I say pertaining to people after that. So it's very important to at least understand basic interests by 3rd year, somewhere mid or end of 3rd year, so that you can develop skill sets based on those interests, right? So once you've done one of those volunteer programs or internships based on your interests, you'll have a certain understanding of the goal that you want to reach. So based on that, you apply for internships or improve your skills. Now, projects are a very good way of doing it without having some employer, give you work. So now, how do you choose projects? Now, choosing projects is, because there are so many projects available everywhere, it's difficult to know what exactly to do. But I suggest what you do is try to, your first project must always be something that you can duplicate, something that is not original. Because if you try to do something original, it'll take twice as long. You can do an original at half the time if you've done someone's duplicate work. Right? When I say duplicate, I don't mean publish the duplicate work. I just mean that do it so that you can understand how a project of that sort really works and develop the skills to make an original one for yourself. And that's how we used to do it. When I wrote my first paper, the work before that was duplicated. The converter that I had designed prior to the research, to, the novel converter, was a duplicated work of my research guide, so that I could understand how to do the main stuff. Yeah, so that's what I suggest. Try to duplicate work and try to develop interest at least by the third year, even vaguely, so that you can understand what you want to do.
Okay, so that's an advice to keep in mind. Now, coming to the college activities that shape us into a perfect candidate, how important of a role do you think soft skills play?
To be honest, I myself didn't pay much attention to soft skills before. I was a bit arrogant on that, on my part, to have not paid attention. But I do understand, with all of the things going on in college, you can miss out on the soft skill classes. But soft skills are not really something that you need someone to teach you in a class. It's good that they're providing you that option, but it's always good to see people online, read blogs where people have shared their interview experience. Try to put yourself in shoes of an employer. That's the key. So what do you expect if someone is talking to you and they're being arrogant? You won't like it. So you don't be arrogant. Be polite. So similarly, those basic things you understand once you start reading blogs, and you get into that environment of what an interview would be like, so that you can keep yourself in check. You don't speak too much, you don't speak too little, you just speak the right amount and you speak it politely. And also try watching a couple of interviews, maybe in YouTube and all. It gives you a very good idea about how it works. Even IAS interviews, there are Drishti IAS and all. There are a couple of channels like that which provide interviews. Now, because interviews don't really need to be, the soft skills for interviews don't have to be only for engineers. It can be for anybody. So you can check out the IAS ones as well. It gives you an idea about how to keep yourself composed during an interview.
Yeah, so I really hope this session with you encourages our students to reach greater heights. So, what is the last final advice that you would like to give to our juniors?
Uh, See, when you start working for the first time, be it an internship or be it a job, you're not going to like it, even if it's something that you really enjoy. Because liking, you enjoying a project is completely different than working in a corporate world or for somebody. You're going to be given work to do. It may interest you, but you'll have pressure. But that will last for only a month or half a month, not more than that. Once you go through that entire portion of work, you're going to do well. And that's when people think, for the first 15 to 30 days of that internship or job, you'll feel like, why am I working here? Is it only for the money or all of that shit? Just wait for a while, wait for a month, and if you think you're doing well in it, then it's the place for you to be. That's what I suggest, because this is something I felt myself. For the first 15 days of my work, I really thought that I shouldn't be doing this because it didn't make any sense. But after that, I had a lot of fun. I'm still having a lot of fun. Yeah.
Thank you for that, and we appreciate the time you have taken for this today.
Thank you. It was nice. Thank you so much.